My name is Dr. Abiguel Mupambi. I am a social and human rights advocate. And of course, in this regard, um, I'm also a board member to the Green Rebirth Project. It was, of course, on a very, very, very sad note, with a heavy heart, that we are addressing this pressure. I'm personally addressing this pressure at a time when we have gone through quite a hard time. I am sure the return Nadia issue is a big issue at the moment. But of course, I should share briefly with you that Nadia was found, but of course not in good shape, somewhere in Mashonaland. The law enforcement agents, the health practitioners are at work as things stand. But the reason, of course, why having this pressure at this moment, this pressure was set yesterday morning for today. The whole idea is the concern, of course, the public interest on the circumstances that has taken us this far. And many people have come to appreciate this issue only on the missing or on the disappearance or on the abducted Nadia. And that's when many people had to appreciate that. And of course, distortions have been coming through. Like I mentioned, as myself, on my very own personal behalf, I would share with you for free that this environmentalist, lead environmentalist in our country, Nadia Wangai Mavirakari, she's actually a highly passionate person in terms of issues of environment. I personally was invited into the Green Rebirth Project as way back as 2021, 2022, 2023, and so forth. She was the person on the ground. We have been responsible for guiding policy issues, advisory, and so forth around the running of the project, which later, of course, even culminated into a trust, Green Rebirth Trust. But I personally came on board when it was indeed a project. Fast forward, in 2024, just mid-2024, after mobilizing a number of resources, which mainly includes seeds and so forth, there was a vision. And the vision was to actually benchmark a 1 million target as a response to the calls at SDGs and our calls on NDS1, Vision 2030, the pillars around environment and the climate. So the idea was to benchmark 1 million trees. In that mobilization process, which includes mobilization and the coordination of stakeholders, I remember vividly Nadia coming to our board to address that, something good is coming up. Director Farai Marapira of SANPF, not in the context of SANPF, he has said he can actually facilitate that I can be assisted because the First Lady, Amai Dr. Otsilian Nangagwa, is the Secretary for Environment, knowing even ourselves that how aggressive she is in her works. Indeed, that was an opportunity, not for Nadia, but an opportunity for this bigger vision for the country to move forward. On the very same note, the same director, Marapira, then moved on to say, no, I can take you to someone who can do it even better and faster. He is within the protocol of the very same environment, who is the Secretary for Environment at National, who happened to be Joyo Batsrai Matiza. Now, this is how Director Marapira of ZANU-PF, came into context. The introduction of the player Batsirai, and of course the facilitation of the coming into the project. ACE, and in particular, a funder, a sponsor, a donor, any other modalities were to follow, but the issue was actually welcome. So, Green Rebirth proceeded to Murewa North, identified a site, spoke to one school, Chemapango Secondary School, which is in Murewa North, and of course, cleared the ground and sold not the Batsirai agenda, but the Green Rebirth agenda of years. Among other supporters, Batsirai, Matiza came on board. No one is denying his contributions to this day. But then, to quickly bring you to the next context, the problem only emanated a few weeks ago when Batsirai Matiza proved in context and in action that he had set every ground to hijack the project. Part of what he has done is what led the people to the High Court. But I would share with you that he even wrote to the stakeholders of Murewa to say, we are Matiza Trust. We are born in this community. We have just terminated our contract with the Green Rebirth, as if the stakeholders knew at any point about Matiza and Matiza Trust in this context. So we want to let you know that we have officially taken over the project. This is after the project itself is now near harvest. Mom left to lock the gate. And from this is the very same day, the very evening, she was locking the gate from that day till yesterday, when she was found dumped somewhere in the fields in Utah. Very unusual sounded. We later learned that the very same Wednesday, as we were at court, one CID officer from Murewa was spotted at her place the very noon. Procedures are happening at High Court. Some CID is at the house. Meantime, the officer actually confirmed the visit, but of course denied during that time that he may have been involved with the missing of Nadia. So this is the mysterious disappearance is what led to the outcry that the nation, of course, had, because it is unheard of that a whole individual can just go missing in the noon you are at court. The very afternoon you are negotiating. By night, one is missing. That then reminds us and takes us back to the role of the rule of law in our country. We strongly feel that the issue of personal security is tampered with. We are talking about plans. There is a certain expertise and a certain way of managing that project. It's a vulnerable, sensitive project. When the manager, a person's technical expertise, is no longer on the ground for any reason, the project suffers. The service providers on the ground also got a lot of confusion. Some almost withdrew their services. And you know what happens to the very same plants. So each day from the day Nadia was actually displaced from that place, there is loss accumulating. Not to talk about, of course, the workers themselves, the morale itself, the confusion. As Green Rebirth right now, costs of chasing a thief. Imagine. You are even chasing an expensive thief. Imagine. So the costs I can't even account at the moment. But I tell you, it is costly even to the bigger national agenda in terms of environment. If you were to have, before we finish, I'll ask someone to share with you the pictures of the project. To be left unattended and begin to chase an individual. This is counterproductive. It's counter-revolutionary. It should not be allowed, given any, of course, space and opportunity. Is there part of your question I did not answer?
Yes, how has it affected the court proceedings?
Okay, yes. The court proceedings indeed have suffered also, because today the assumption was on the very Wednesday when they requested an out of court settlement by 3 p.m. The issues of the deed of settlement could have started. By today, we could have returned to court to say this is what we have agreed, just for standing. But here we are. All the time we were supposed to do that, we were searching for Nadia. And now, today, Nadia, the condition she's in, she can't even appear before the courts. And of course, one has been seconded from the organization to go alongside the lawyer. So this issue has just disrupted even the court proceedings. So this is how far we have gone. And when I talk about the cost of chasing an expensive thief, it's just too much compared when you are just chasing someone at your level to some extent. So it's a complicated one, but I'll tell you, we are bearing the costs. And the one thing for sure, we are ready to go all the way. It has to be reminded that, it has to come out clear that the struggle for women emancipation, economic empowerment of women continues unabated. And of course, going forward, like I said, we are all in prayers that Nadia will recover, even as we seek justice to understand and to account for her whereabouts during this dark moment. The condition we found her in needs to be accounted for. Whilst of course right now we are waiting for the medical practitioners to give us reports. But at the same time, no one deserves to be missing in the hands of anyone for any reason whatsoever. That has to come out clear. So basically, I think those are the issues coming in. Of interest also, some of the workers there were also sharing some interesting nuggets. During the first visit of Matiza, in the absence of Nadia, he carelessly addressed the workers. Don't worry, now I can be working with you. He even reached out to some of the suppliers who have service providers to the project of Green Rebirth say, can we talk or let me settle you anything if there are outstandings. As for you workers, don't worry. Nadia is not going to come back anymore. So, support me, let's move. Who does that? Who does that? Such is the character of Matiza. We cannot tolerate that. If he has money, it is his money, and his money alone in his bank account.
Yes.
He does not have our rights in his pocket. If anything, this has to come out clear. We are talking of a disruption of 36 workers on the ground right now. 36 families disrupted simply because an individual who came in the pretext of a supporter, a sponsor, whatever the name, wants to hijack and take away everything. I mean everything. The letter here suggests we have taken over everything. Ai zvinhu zvaitoreka nyore nyore yakadai. Dai tisina zvinhu zvakazara kumashure kwedu. Ngotendeka. Wototora. Such is the character of Matiza, and this has to come out clear. It's uncalled for. We are not prepared to swallow that as the women of Zimbabwe. We are not prepared to take that. We are prepared to go all the way to defend the position of women, the position of proper economic empowerment, a transition to real economic development. The president himself is working hard every day to try and usher everyone into the direction of a transitional process of economic development. I will tell you, this issue of individual wanting to hide behind political parties, I tell you, this is advice for free to political leaders. These people will be downplaying whatever resolutions of the party. I was there. I followed the proceedings of the ZANU-PF resolutions recently last year in Bulawayo. I never saw a resolution giving a way to an individual to abduct other people, or to grab other people's business, or to undermine the operations of other people, or to just get away in the face of justice. So, how then do we have an individual wanting to politicize a purely economic issue, a purely dispute emanating from a business transaction? Why would someone want to probably jacket this as a party issue on the resolution of ZANU-PF? Unless if there are other resolutions, I never saw a resolution that support the act of such individuals. As such, we call upon the leadership of ZANU-PF in particular, and other political, this has been happening across the board, and other political leaders, to make sure that they help fish out such people and let individuals face their own consequences and let them carry their own cross. So this issue of wanting to hide behind party jackets, for me, it does not work. ZANU-PF is something else. Matiza is something else. Marapira is something else. I am an individual. So we're of course disappointed to see certain groupings trying to defend even what they don't know. Green Rebirth, I repeat, is a project that started years ago. It does not fit in Matiza's pocket. It cannot fit in the pocket of an individual who just came through the back door. If he is ready, of course, to move forward and say, yes, I contributed, but I feel that maybe my contribution should be treated like 1, 2, 3, 4. We are always open for that. But the issue of thinking that if you are blocked, if you are stopped from your shenanigans, then overnight you begin to, facilitate some disappearance of individuals, it will not work. I think that has to come out